What's going on, everybody? This is Drew Sherrick here alongside Colorado Golf head coach Roy Edwards with me today. Roy, how have you been so far?
Good, Drew. Good. Things are going well. Season's going well, and good to be here with you.
So, Roy, lots of really good results in tournaments this past month or so, especially with tournaments here in Colorado. Morin's been playing really well. Can you talk a little bit more about your team's performances?
Sure, absolutely. You know, one of the things we do in the fall is we're able to play a lot of tournaments close to home. It's very important to us as we have a team that's built up of a lot of players from the state of Colorado. There's some great tournaments here. We host a good one at the Mark Simpson Colorado Invitational to play well here. University of Denver hosted a new event this year at Colorado Golf Club in Parker, had a really national field, played really well, finished in second place at that event. And then we've got a lead in this year because it's very unique. We're playing the Pac-12 championship in April of our season this year at Boulder Country Club. So we wanted to play a lot of tournaments here and really show that we're the premier golf program in the Rocky Mountains.
What did you think about playing CGC? And that's a course that was played out from the Solheim Cup too, which was interesting.
Yeah, Solheim Cup. I watched a lot of that Solheim Cup. A lot of players recognized holes out there. And it's a great golf course, and it's really one of the crown jewels of golf in Colorado. So it was a very hard test, it was very fair, and it was a good test, and I was really happy with the results from that.
What do you tell your players, before tournaments, whether it's 3 weeks, a week, a day, in terms of preparing for a tournament in general? What's the one main thing you tell your guys to go and do?
There's kind of two main things. You're looking at preparing for the golf course. So some golf courses may have a lot of rough. Others may have no rough. If you're going to Arizona, for instance, a lot of times you're chipping off a fairway or short grass around the greens, and then you're really looking at each player individually and saying, okay, what are where you're at, and what are you going to do to play well on that golf course, and try to help them do as much as they can leading up to the event to prepare for that. And then as we get really close to the event, we'll start looking at very specific things like, okay, if we've been there before, maybe predict the hole locations from previous years or something along those lines.
Speaking of course preparation, you guys are preparing for a tournament in early November in Napa at the Gifford,
right,
which UCLA is hosting. And so what are you going to really tell your players about playing it in Napa specifically?
Well, we've played some tournaments in the area over the years. Usually we play one at Meadow Club about 30 miles away. Some of the guys watched the golf tournament this weekend. That's where the Safeway Open was just completed on Sunday.
Silverado.
Silverado.
And it is damp there. Lots of rain came down, so that'll be interesting to factor in too.
Yeah, for sure. And this is the time of year they start to get a little more rain in that part of the country. So we're trying to learn as much as we can about the golf course. Our players have played golf tournaments all over the world and all over the United States. So it's not too much different going there. We're going to go a couple days early and prepare a little bit, but we're excited to kind of get out of the region and play a little bit too, because we really enjoy that. And we spend a lot of time in California throughout the season, so that'll be a good start to it.
Who do you think is the player that's improved the most, and what do you think is the player that has totally exceeded his expectations?
Well, I think anytime you get the production from a freshman like we did from Morton Toft Hansen the first 4 tournaments of the year. He had a little off week last week, but he's been really good. Pac-12 Player of the Month. It is pretty incredible to come right in and play at a high level like that. I think somebody of particular note that's played really well for us is senior Ethan Freeman. Ethan has really been a very, very good player for us, and I feel like he's taken his game up another level this year. He's taken over a leadership role. He's very comfortable in the environment he's in, and what you're now seeing is, and he's been working hard, is he's playing really good golf.
It's true. So what about Morin Toft Hansen that's really impressed you, recruiting the kid? And, what did you look, when you looked at his skills and his talents, what really stood out to you when you saw him play?
Well, I think what's interesting to me was we had a player that graduated in May that was a very good player for us, Philip Juelberg, who's from Denmark. And Philip basically told me, he said, you need to recruit this guy. I didn't know who Morton was. And Philip really was the reason that we even started it. He goes, and he was like, you can go watch him play and do this, but you don't have to. I'm telling you, this guy can really play. And so I think as he's come into the program, the thing that's been the most impressive with him is he's really got all the shots. There's nothing he can't do. and he's very calm. He's very patient. I describe him as a little professional, as a young professional, because he's very professional about how he goes about how he manages his game, how he practices, how he prepares. He doesn't get too high emotionally or too low. And that's something you rarely see out of somebody that young.
You mentioned about Denmark. What about Denmark, Danish players, that has really attracted you?
Well, it all started with Philip. I mean, we weren't really trying to attract somebody per se from Denmark, but their national team coach at the time of the juniors talked to us about Philip. Philip was trying to find somewhere to go, and we brought him in, and Philip had a great experience here. I feel like Boulder lends itself to the European player very well because Boulder is such a it's a very European city with how everything is laid out and how pretty everything is and how nice and the quality of life here. So it's a natural fit for some of those guys. And then Philip had played with Morton on some of the national team things, and that's really how we developed a relationship with Morton. Victor Bjorla, who's another freshman who's done some good things too, that's been interesting, is Victor became interested in us because he had seen Philip Juelberg and found out that he had gone to Colorado, so he contacted us, and he's going to be a very good player too.
So, and then obviously you talk about, the city of Boulder being a very European type of place, but, what about the golf courses they play? Having
Sure.
to adjust to the new golf courses in America rather than in Denmark, and obviously the two breeds of golf are very vast in difference. So
Yeah.
can you talk about how your European players in particular, have adjusted to the courses out here?
Well, it's not easy. I think anytime you move away, there's an adjustment, not just with golf, but emotionally and the circle of friends and being away from home is an adjustment for all young people, for anybody really. And so just emotionally handling that is important. I think we get into some mountain golf areas at Air Force, and if we go into the mountains and play a course or two that have a little bit of mountain bias, it takes getting used to for everybody. But these are very seasoned guys. One thing I think that's very unique about all the guys that we recruit, no matter where they're from, is that they're very experienced at a lot of golf courses all over the U.S. and in some cases, like the European guys, all over the world.
So yeah, one last little quick question just to have some fun here. What do you think is, I should say, what do you think has been the funniest moment from your golf team this year?
Oh, this year, funniest moment. I think probably the most recent, they probably think it's the funniest, but my birthday was a couple days ago, and so some of the guys, it usually happens with the seniors, they kind of save up some moments. They posted some pictures on Facebook and stuff of me that they had been sneaking in and taking pictures of. I will say this, that there's a lot of fun moments with the guys. We have a good time. It's a group of guys that gets along well.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a lot of travel too, and I understand it's a lot of miles traveled, with the team, and it's good bonding, as I would say.
Right, no question. And one thing that was really fun is this last weekend we had a bunch of alumni in for a reunion, and it was pretty cool having a lot of those guys tell stories to the younger guys that were on the team now, and hearing that I think is very important for for all of our current players too, to see that. And I know it's fun for our alums to see our current players having such a good experience and enjoying themselves too. So that was a fun moment. Not necessarily funny. There were a lot of funny times, but that was a fun moment.
So who's got the most character on the team, you think? Just most character. You can talk about character in terms of, personality and funniness, or, character in terms of, good golf mentality, both ways.
Right,
you
sure.
can take both categories.
I think the guy that's the most excitable on the team is probably Ross McDonald. Ross is he's actually redshirting this year, but he's very excitable. And as we're sitting here talking, I can see him out in the back, trying to get into Coach Grady a little bit. So, he's fun. There's a lot of guys on it. There's so much personality on the team as a whole.
Yeah.
Not everybody necessarily expresses it outwardly, but everybody's got a lot of fun things going on.
That's great. Well, Coach, thank you very much for your time, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you, Drew. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.